Hey guys, great news. The budget finally passed. We're free to film. Is that rock and roll? To the internet sensation known as Triple Threat Talk. This is episode 118. I'm Gary the Dr. Locker, joined as always by Big B, Brandon DeMiro, PostMaster Jones, Mr. Jimmy Biggers, and we have a star-studded, action-packed show for you today.
A lot of stuff.
Bronco sideline reporter. We have the guy responsible for an awesome stunt that was pulled out over at Jaguar Stadium earlier this week.
The question is, does the stunt pay off?
Yeah, the question is, does the stunt pay off? We're going to leave you on a couple of cliffhangers right there. But starting off the show, as always, Mr. Postmaster Jones with Viewer Questions.
I feel technologically sound today. I got these technologies in front of me today, and instead of a notes, we have a notebook, so it's a little different.
And this over here is a pencil.
I almost feel like Wilson off Home Improvement. It's like, mighty ho, neighbor.
What the heck? Anyway.
From the Bucking Five.
Yes.
Do you think that the WWE is in right in thinking that Dolph Ziggler will never be a big money draw and ending his main event push because of it?
This is one of the things I read that kind of gets me a little bit perturbed, if that's the right word. Perturbed. You're saying people within the company don't think that he's a big draw in terms of, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Anyway, he's trying to figure something out anyway. But the fact they don't think Dolph Ziggler's a big money draw is kind of like, you know, Dolph Ziggler's as talented as anybody they have in the company. Obviously, his ring skills, have shown that. But I don't know why they don't think he's a big money draw. I still think he's in the doghouse a little bit for what he said at SummerSlam. I still think that's kind of on their mind. Whatever he said, I don't know what he said. But whatever he did say, they're still kind of angry about it. I think Ziggler is a big draw. I think he's very popular on Twitter. I think when they had that series with Dolph Ziggler on WWE.com, I thought that was a big thing. I think him being world champion, the time he won, and how popular he was after he cashed in the Money Bank after WrestleMania, that was a huge deal. I think the crowd got behind him, and I think they would support him. So I don't know why they don't think he'd be a big money draw. I think the crowd likes him. He's got the talent. I think they should give him a shot.
I think, he's already had his shot. I do think that he is a pretty talented guy. I think they ought to keep on giving him a push, There's no reason for him not to do that. They're talking about what's best for business. Well, they need to practice what they preach because Dolph Ziggler is one of the things that's best for business.
I agree. Apparently Top Dino
wants to chime in.
Yeah, he wants to chime in. I think, like they said, he's definitely worthy of continuation of a push. I think this is just, water under the bridge.
Yeah.
After a while, this will be all water under the bridge. He'll be back to being pushed. Sometimes he needs to learn to keep his mouth shut.
It's rough now because you can't just be a talented writer. You have to pay attention to the politics that go on. So.
Mr. B, what did you think of the Breaking Bad finale and how the show went off the air?
The Breaking Bad finale I thought was very well done. I think obviously there's certain people out there that would disagree with how it ended and they wanted it a certain way, but I think it was good. I'm not going to spoil it because if people haven't seen it, I don't want them to do it.
If he dies, he dies.
Yeah. Anyway, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it yet. But it did amazing. I think it did $10.3 million, which is the hugest finale they've ever had in the history of AMC.
Biggest, sir.
Biggest.
Hugest is not a word.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Whatever. Anyway. But it was the biggest. That better?
There you go.
There you go.
Fine, it was the largest. How about that?
There you go.
It was the. It was.
Now you're getting carried away.
Okay. It was. It was the largest number. It was the largest number of viewers that watched the finale. AMC 10.3 million. It was a great show. 5 seasons. It was very well done. I mean, from Bryan Cranston going from Malcolm in the Middle to that is just astounding. And now, you know, he's so busy. I think he's in Massachusetts filming some kind of playing with Lyndon Johnson. He's filming Godzilla for next year. Bryan Cranston's got a lot on his plate, and this show is definitely.
Welcome to Cisco and Ebert with Big B.
Godzilla.
He deserves it. I mean, as good as that show is, Bryan Cranston makes that show so good, and you can see why he wins the Emmys he does. The show actually did win the Emmy for Best Drama, and I think it deserves it. It's very good. It's a show that if you don't watch it and then you kind of like, why is this show getting so much rating? Then you watch and you see why the show gets the recognition that it does.
All right, thank you for that, Cisco. From Against All Odds 20.
Isn't Cisco dead?
Well.
Yeah, thanks for that.
What are your thoughts on MVP leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling? And him saying that if WWE or TNA wants him, he will go.
I mean, I guess the time he spent in NGPW, he's had his time there. He's enjoyed his time. He learned what he needed to learn, and I'm not surprised if he said. Obviously, that'd be kind of stupid if he said I wouldn't. He obviously he's done what he needs to do in NGPW, and now if TNA or WWE calls, he's like, hey, I'm ready to go. It depends where he wants to go. I know he asked a follow-up question. He said, if you want to be an entertainer, go to WWE. If you want to be a wrestler, or stay in Japan. How does he view TNA? I don't know. I don't think he said he would ever go to TNA, to be honest, because TNA is getting worse and worse by the minute, especially since the father, Jerry Jarrett, said he's surprised they're still in business.
Yeah.
And Hulk Hogan supposedly and then the release of Mickie James and Anderson because they can't pay them.
Right.
It's just not looking very good. So I don't know why you would want to go there in the first place. I think WWE's the way to go because at least you know you're going to get paid. That's the bottom line. You're there to make money.
Might go to ROH. Yeah, I can see him in ROH.
But again, aside from how you feel about each individual company, if you want to make money, that's where you go. You go to
right. I know.
Because TNA's in a department where they can't pay anybody. I mean, listen to this. All right, Mickie James and Anderson both left. Supposedly Anderson's getting a restructured deal, so Anderson might go back to TNA. As far as Mickie James goes, I don't think she's going back at all because TNA offered her a contract. She turned it down. It was only a contract worth $60,000 a year, which is not a lot of money for someone. He makes $60,000 a year, close to it. So Mickie James getting paid that year, that's just a slap in the face, I think, for her. And she's
a lot of money for me.
Well, yeah, but for her, it's like chump change. I think she made that her first year in WWE in like a month or something, probably, pretty close. So, TNA's into decline, and I think the smart move for MVP would go to WWE, so at least he can get paid.
If I'm WWE, I'm calling up MVP right now.
Right now?
Yeah, I'm calling him right now.
I agree. I mean, WWE probably would like to have him back. I think they'd take him back.
Yeah. Red Ranger.
What?
Morph.
He was Purple Ranger.
It's morphin' time.
Yeah.
Purple Ranger. Anyway.
From Saber Green 2010.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Saber. Will you guys be talking about the NHL when hockey starts?
I won't.
You better believe it.
Yes, we will be. Matter of fact, me and Big B were tuned in to the opening game on NBC Sports Network last night.
That's in the headlines as well.
Yes, and we'll be talking about the Blackhawks Capitals.
And we'll be attending a game this year.
Yeah. Well, I attend several, but you're...
Well, there's only one team.
Yeah.
Well, there's 2 teams, but there's one you can't go to. So.
Yeah. Do you think that when Cody Rhodes comes back, will he and Goldust become a tag team?
No. They're obviously Battlegrounds this Sunday. We're going to cover that later on. And they're
the doc will see again.
They're tagging for one match against Rollins and Reigns, and if they win, Cody gets his job back, and Goldust has a job. Goldust has a job. I don't think they become a tag team. I think they're really wanting to push Cody into singles competition. I want to put Cody in a single spot, and he wasn't gone very long. He was gone shorter than I thought he would be. So I don't think the team with Goldust. I think Goldust might be like a trainer or something. I don't think he's going to come back and wrestle as like a long term. I think he's going to.
I know you're excited to have Cody back, but you got to be a little disappointed because he's away from home now.
Who does the cooking?
I would say somebody to spoil my wild card, so I'll save it for later.
What does the fox say?
Wow. I think, stop it. I think, as much as I would like to see Goldust continue his career in WWE, I think this is a short-term engagement to kind of put the Rhodes family in and, show the unimportance of your husband and all that fun stuff.
I do like how Goldust, he comes out in a suit, but he's still wearing the face paint.
That's awesome.
So it's like I'm casual, but I'm still myself.
So he's not Goldust. He's
Dust.
He's Mr. Goldust.
Mr. Dust.
Mr. Dust. Mr. Dust. I presume.
Mr. Dust.
For the CAW interviewer.
What's going on now?
What would be your dream faction of 5 superstars?
I could have answered this before.
We probably have, but since he hasn't been around in a while, I figured it'd be a good time to answer.
Is this again? This doesn't say anything about
5 superstars. That's it. That's all it says.
So it doesn't mean past or present or
5 superstars.
Anybody from anything.
I would take it that way.
Oh man, that's rough. Well, I throw Shawn Michaels in there.
Oh yeah,
he's my
automatic.
He's my number 1 draft pick, of course.
Automatic.
I've met him. It's a nice guy.
So have I. Long time ago.
You guys suck.
Anyway, Michaels is number 1.
Yeah,
I put Savage in there because I like Savage a lot.
Don't blame you for not going.
Savage. I go with Sting.
Sting, Savage, Shawn. You must like S's.
Shawn Sting, no. Shawn, Sting, Savage,
Steve.
That's rough because it's 5 people and you're leaving people out.
Well, just pick 5. We don't have.
Fine.
We don't have all this.
Shawn, Sting, Savage, Steve, and all I says here Sheamus. All says.
Oh my God!
I would pick Shawn.
The X Faction.
The Ultimate Warrior.
Yes.
You and your Ultimate Warrior.
Shawn, the Ultimate Warrior. Probably Nash. CM Punk.
So right now he has Son, and then let's see, CM Punk.
Oh, I was like, what? And then I'd probably delve a little bit and get another big man or a medium-sized man and pick Scott Hall.
I like how we didn't pick anybody right now except for Sheamus.
I would pick.
I do like Wade Barrett, but he hasn't got into much.
I could pick. It's so many people to pick from, like Edge. I could have picked, and just so many people.
I'll pick Edge.
Okay, there you go.
I like Edge.
Yeah, of course.
That's
a hard question.
Edge, Shawn Michaels.
Everyone's got Shawn.
AJ Styles.
Phenomenal.
The Rock.
The Rock.
And John Cena.
Of course.
So.
You know, I like how people we picked aren't usually in factions. I mean, Michaels was, but Savage was.
The Rock was.
Well, The Rock.
Well, NWO.
He was in the Nation.
Scott Hall.
And AJ Styles was.
Kevin Nash.
He shouldn't be.
Sting was. Sting is now.
So with that wraps up user questions this week. We want to thank everybody for your questions, comments, quandaries, queries, and criticisms.
Of course, the criticisms.
Yes. So with that, we will anoint this week's Viewer of the Week. And I think since he's back from the dead and we answered 2 questions, I think Saber Green 2010. You're this week's episode 118.
Viewer of the Week.
You did a little bit early there, over there. What? You said viewer a little bit early. You didn't do it in unison.
He's excited.
I can tell.
He's excited to name a new Viewer of the Week. It's been a while since it hasn't been.
Keep it up. Keep it up, guys. Keep it up, guys.
And with that, that's the show this week. We were only allowed 12 minutes due to government shutdown. We apologize. So
it happens.
If you want to like us on Facebook, no, we're kidding.
We were gonna try to go to Yosemite, but that's unfortunately closed.
Yeah. We were on his birth week too.
We were
137 years old.
We were gonna do the show from the Lincoln Memorial, but sorry,
too bad.
It was crossed off.
It was crossed off. So with that, Big B.
What?
If you would.
What if I
play that funky music, white boy?
Should I play the song or the other song?
Play the song.
Okay.
Doctor, give me the news. I got the bad case of the headline blues.
Not that song.
Oh, don't play the other one.
Not yet.
Yeah.
It's later.
Yeah.
It's a surprise for everybody.
So, Doc.
Yo.
What's going on in the wonderful world?
We got a lot of stuff going on. Since the government shutdown seems to be kind of a theme, the government shutdown will affect the Navy Air Force game this weekend.
Maybe
it's in limbo right now because
they can't fly.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things they don't know how they're gonna play when the government shut down.
Now,
so.
I know we don't usually delve into this topic, but the government was shut down before in 1995 for 3 weeks.
Right.
So
and another thing,
we'll see how long this goes. So
just a memento. Just a key thing to note.
Yes.
The last time the government was shut down, the Atlanta Braves won the World Series. That's all I'm saying.
1990.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
The 49ers won the Super Bowl that year too.
Well, we'll see what happens.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm more believable in his team than yours.
Just saying. Just throwing it out there. Alrighty here. A little bit of NBA news here. Russell Westbrook of the Thunder is out for the first part of the season after having arthroscopic knee surgery. The problem apparently arose from a loose stitch from his previous surgery, and that's per Sam Presti, the Thunder's GM. So
he's going to be out a little while.
That's tough because the West is getting really hot now, especially with Houston getting Dwight Howard and Golden State playing really well. So, and I think the Lakers will be better too. So they're going to struggle a little bit at the beginning.
He's going to be missed for sure for what little bit he is out.
And when we come back from break,
we have a special guest.
We have a special guest
from Jacksonville.
One of two special guests today. And we will continue the show right after this. I'm Gary the Dr. Lockhart, as always, with Big B and Postmaster Jones. Stick with us.
We really wanted to take a relaxing trip to Florida, you know, just to unwind.
But we can only afford one trip this year, and his high school reunion is coming up in Seattle.
Everyone's going. Then we heard about Hotwire and realized we could actually afford to take both trips.
See, when really nice hotels have unsold rooms, they use Hotwire to fill them. So we got our 4-star hotels for half price.
I should have been voted most likely to travel.
HOTWIRE, hotwire.com.
Save big on car rentals, too, from $11.95 a day.
And welcome back to Triple Threat Talk. I am Gary the Dr. Lockhart, joined as always by Big B, Brandon DeMiro, and Jimmy, Postmaster Jones Biggers. Right now we have a special guest on the line. We'll get to him in just 1 second. This Sunday, though, if you were at Everbank Stadium, you saw something a little peculiar flying overhead, and probably in the city of Jacksonville you probably saw it too. Big B, can you roll that picture for me? Thank you very much. And right now, we have one of the people responsible for that.
Actually,
the man responsible for that. Mr. James Stewart, goes by Stu. Stu, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm a Jaguar fan, so how do you think I'm doing?
we appreciate the brutal honesty there. Well, we wanted to get your option. Go ahead and for the folks at home, go ahead and throw out the website, and then go ahead and throw out what prompted this movement. Although we all kind of know what the answer is just from looking at the sign that we just threw on the screen.
Well, I'm a Jaguar fan. I moved here 11 years. I was born in Jacksonville. I joined the Marine Corps. I went around the world. And when I retired, I came back here, and we had a pro football team, and I decided I would throw in. The team has had its ups and downs, particularly its downs, lately. But this year, it seemed worse than ever. The first game, we could tell, the team had absolutely nothing. Now, meanwhile, Tebow is a local boy. He's from Jacksonville. My son's football team played against him, and he was a great player. There was a lot of things to admire about him. He went on to the University of Florida. In the University of Florida, of course, they won 2 national championships while he was there. He was a Heisman Trophy winner. He was a tremendous role model. He got drafted in the first round and went to Denver. One of your guys, was it Jim?
Jimmy, yeah.
Yes, that'd be me, sir.
Anyway, I think all of us saw that in 2011, where he came and took a 1-14 Denver team that appeared to be going nowhere, and he won. And he won again, and he won enough to win the division, and they went to the playoffs for the first time in a number of years, and then actually played against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who at the time had the #1 pass defense. He threw for over 300 yards, and he won that ball game, the playoff game. One of only 4 Heisman Trophy winners to ever win a playoff game, to start and win a playoff game. Now fast forward to the present. He's gone through a series where Denver ended up trading for Peyton Manning, a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. Tebow was traded to the Jets to a coach who has a tattoo of Sanchez on his arm. There's a lot of things about him that to be concerned about. And in our opinion, in the whole year being with the Jets, never really had a chance to prove himself. Now they went to practice. A lot of people say things about him as far as he's not very good. He's got all this a number of things wrong with him. And I can't say that I saw any of that here. I haven't been there, and you haven't been there. A lot of people that say those things, they haven't been there either. I'm not sure what is going on, as far as that goes. But we do know what we saw in Denver. We saw it, with our own eyes. He won. It happened. It was not a dream. It was not a movie. It was real. and he did it running the same play 50 times a game. Now, Jaguar fan, here I am. This team from right out of the gate here, obviously, doesn't have anything. The team was 2-14 last year. Well, it looks like we're going to be worse this year. Statistically, the Jaguars are on pace to be the worst team in NFL history. They're doing worse than in 2008 Denver Lions, who went 0-16. Statistically, they're worse than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 1976, who didn't win a game either. It is forecast that we're not going to win any games. We have a rookie head coach, we have a rookie general manager, and we have an offensive coordinator who, before he got here, never called an offensive play in the NFL. We have a new owner who said when he got here that he wanted to make the Jaguar ticket the hottest in the NFL. Well, it's not. It's the worst. I've been here and never paid over $15 for a ticket. I can come in and sit wherever I want. By the time we get to the fourth quarter, if you see any pictures of the Jaguar Stadium this year where we got drummed both games were here, there's nobody here. So now we have Tim Tebow. He's a free agent. Our quarterbacks are statistically, and you don't even have to use stats. You can just watch them play. They're not getting it done for whatever reason. So now we have Tim Tebow, a proven winner. Why not? He's a local boy. There's every reason to bring this guy in. University of Florida is just a few miles away. Whenever they play Georgia, they take the tarp down, and there's 80,000 people in the stadium. If they brought in overnight, if as soon as he came in and was behind the center, the place would be stacked out. Okay? Now, that's my opinion. There's a lot of people that will argue that here, but I'm saying, why not? And that's our message. Why not? Why not bring Tim Tebow, in as quarterback of the Jaguars? I mean, we have nothing, so we have nothing to lose. I can't say for a fact that he would be a great quarterback. Okay, I just know what I saw. Okay, I believe that he would be. I believe it would be value added. The Jaguars got nothing. The attendance is slipping. We're a laughing stock. Jay Leno's making jokes of us. There's cities, Orlando, for example, apologized publicly for showing our games. I mean, it just can't get any worse than that. So why not? That's where we're at. On the 12th, after the second loss, I threw up a website, okay? And I'm not a professional. I'm just a guy. I threw up a website, and probably by that afternoon, here's what we did. We took the website out, we sent a guy out with a sign. He stood on a busy intersection with our sign and said, Jags, Tebow, why not? And had our website. People immediately stopped, got out with their phones, and started taking pictures. And within minutes, the sign was on Twitter and Facebook and social media took care of it. Within 15 minutes of God being out with the sign, the website had over 1,000 hits, and I had 30 text messages and calls within 15 minutes. After a week, the website had a million hits, and 300,000 individuals, have gone there, since we put the website up. We're on the way to 2 million hits. Now, 4 days after we put the website up, really it was 2 days, on Saturday, I had a group of volunteers, locals, that said, hey, I want to be part of this and see what we can do. We said, well, why don't we get together? And we put on the website, we're going to have a rally. We never expected, the thing to get out to the national press. So on Monday, we're expecting to bring, 20 to 100 people. And, we show up at 3:16. We scheduled the rally at 3:16, symbolic to John 3:16, the banner that Tebow carries is Christianity. Out of respect for that, we threw that up. A lot of people were working. So at 3:16, when I came and started unloading my van, there was 30 teams of press, national press, ESPN, Yahoo Sports, CBS, you name it. They were all there. I didn't invite them. I didn't say we're going to have thousands of people. They got out there, they snapped pictures of our 12 to 15 people, and then they ran off so they could make a 5 o'clock, press thing here. So they all reported on the national press, tried to throw us under the bus, saying, we had a rally and only 12 people showed up. Yeah, that was that was a 3:16. Over the course of the entire time, we went 3 hours and 16 minutes. Over the course there, we had about 100 people. Now I know that because I bought hot dogs and hamburgers for 100, and I had 2 left. I didn't keep any roll or anything like that. We didn't have 100 people there at any individual time there. It's come when you can, when you need to. We got organized. We started getting some things going. And I'm not a professional organizer. And these guys are just regular guys, like me, guys and gals. We put up a Facebook group. It's Jags, Tebow, why not? It's a Facebook group. We got over 2,000 members. If you want to see what we're doing, just go and join our group. And all the things that we're doing, the press who throws out the stories with no basis at all, with either just Google or what kind of thing, and they would know. There was some of the press that said the airplane was an individual, and that was like a national sports, columnist. It's hard to believe that the guy couldn't just Google, because we had it out there and we were doing it. So, so there we are. We have thousands of supporters. We've got 1,500 people that pledge to buy season tickets if Tebow is the quarterback. Like I said, the website's got thousands of hits. And we have a national fan base. People that would buy tickets and not even come here and donate to people who can't afford. You still there?
Yeah, we're still here. We wanted to chip in. One of our co-hosts here, Big B, he had a question for you.
Yeah, I used to live in Jacksonville actually when the team was actually respectable, when they had Brunell and Fred Taylor, all those people, when they were a team, as you could say. But with how Jacksonville's playing now, it's the fact they won't even consider signing someone like Tim Tebow, who has proven that he can win the NFL, and both their quarterbacks can't seem to do anything correctly. They just can't seem to do anything to even remotely be competitive in any game they played this season. Again, I've seen your movement, and I think it's a great thing, because I think Tebow deserves a chance to play. And the fact that, last Sunday where they played the Colts, they offered 2 free beers to people that showed up at the game that are obviously legal age to drink. That's just seeing they're doing anything they can to possibly get people to go. And I think if they did sign Tim Tebow, I believe that people would go to the game, because, like you said, he's a local talent, and I think he would make people want to go to the game and watch him play.
Well, you're preaching to the choir there, brother. I'm with you there. When Brunell and Taylor was here, it was only our second year in the franchise where we were really caught on fire. And at that time, the owner had through, his focus was to have a competitive team. He did, he went and did, whatever it took to be a winner. This year, if you go back and look at the schedule for us, they gave us 2 very winnable games in the very beginning. Kansas City was drafted ahead of us. They were statistically worse than us, the only team worse than us last year. And within a year, now they're 4-0. They made a commitment, to rebuild quickly, and they did. Whereas, we hired, a number of management people, general manager and owner, on it cheap. And they're saying they're going to go through a 4 or 5 year rebuilding plan. I don't buy that at all. The owner, Con, has already started moving, some of the games to Europe. To London, we have games, scheduled this year. They're talking about doing 4. We're very concerned here in Jacksonville that that they're allowing this team to be bad, that they're not trying to win, so that it will be easy for them to move the team. They've been taught they can move it to California, they can move it to Canada, they can move it to London. It doesn't matter if they move it out of here. That's a problem for us as the city. And I don't even know if the city even grasps that here. We're in the middle of the Bible Belt. Everybody here is nice. And, when something, comes down like this, they're hoping somebody's going to do something about it. Well, I didn't see it happening, and I wanted to do something, so, I tried something. I had no idea that it would go off on a scale like this. I knew that Tebow was a very polarized ball player. There's people that, on both sides of the fence, that love him, but there's haters, too. And I can't comprehend why someone would hate, this particular guy, but those are those people that are out there. I don't know if they weren't cuddled as a child, or whether they had a college team that he beat up on, or maybe one of the teams. I can't even understand it. Whenever they do an argument about why he's not NFL material, they have no basis. They have nothing that they've seen with their own eyes that they can say. It's only that, the coaches say all passed on him and all like that. I got to believe that to some degree that the NFL is vetted against Tebow, and there he's being blackballed. Now, I'm not just the only one that's saying it. Some of the national press, has made that comment. He is the only player that has come and done that well. His last game was a playoff win, and he has never really been given a chance to fail beyond that. I can't explain it. I don't know why it is. It doesn't really matter, but it's definitely there. And I think everybody sees it. If he came to Jacksonville and he went out there, we would see the greatest debate ever played out on a football field. He would either be the greatest I told you so in history, or if he won, it would be one of the greatest in epic sports story ever. The thing is, if they're going to move and do something with the season at all, they need to do it right now. He came know if he could duplicate that. There are people that say that Jacksonville is too bad, that it would be a can't-win situation for you if he came here anyway. I would just like to see it. And the national polls are saying the same thing. There's a number of national polls. I think the worst one is 72% believe that he's the best option for Jacksonville quarterback. Some are over 95% on one.
Hey, Stu, I'm sorry, we are running out of time on the break. We definitely want to thank you for coming on the show, and actually stick around with us for 1 second while we do go to break, because I do want to thank you for coming on the show and get your information to our producer at the same time, okay? But thank you very much for coming on the show. Guys, this is excuse me, we have James Stewart on the line, and he was talking about the movement to bring Tim Tebow to Jacksonville. Stick with us, more Triple Threat Talk after the break. Stay tuned.
James, please don't do this.
I just had the best year of my career. I gotta keep things fresh.
Well, then let's just go to Foot Locker. They got all the fresh new gear.
But I have real talent.
Can I get playback? Okay.
I wear my shirt open so you see my chest. Girl, I work so hard into...
Is that me?
And welcome back here on the show. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with Big B, Brendan Amiro, and the Doc, Gary Locker. Before the break, we had Mr. James Stewart, no, not the actor, from Jacksonville on the phone. On his movement to bring Tim Tebow to the Jaguars.
It's a worthy movement.
The one thing I liked about this guy, and you've heard about movements before in sports and other medias, whatever. This guy, he seemed really passionate about this cause, not just from what he's doing, but how he was saying was talking to us on the show. He really seems passionate about this, and I hope it. I mean, let's be realistic here. His movement is admirable, but I don't think Jacksonville's going to do it. I think they're dead set in what they're doing, which is not good. Honestly, I don't know about you, but I think me and Postmaster are thinking that Jacksonville's going to sign Teddy Bridgewater. I think that's where they're going.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, but at the same time, they still have to somehow. You could sign maybe Tebow for a year, see how he does. It's not impossible that he gets there and wins, like he said. I mean, you sign him for your remaining 12 games and go from there.
What if Jacksonville? Again, this is really out there. Say Jacksonville's like 0-6, which they probably will be because they're playing the Rams and they're playing you all, and they sign him. What team goes 9-7?
After
how foolish did they feel not signing earlier?
Yeah, that would be crazy. I mean,
again,
it's happened. And
when he was in Denver, he had more pieces than Jacksonville does.
And when we were getting the information for the website off the air, he keyed us into something a little bit top secret. So not going to be anything illegal, but he said we think a plane was big. They got something bigger planned, so they're going to be striking back big in a big way. That'd be awesome. Drive a tank on Everbank Stadium.
Be like Triple H in the WCW Invasion. We need you to sign Tim Tebow.
I'm kind of excited to see how they beat a plane.
Yeah, the thing is, they think they're playing in St. Louis this week, right?
I think, but we'll find out in a minute and pick them.
And then they all play you all in Denver, so they have 2 weeks off from Everbank.
So we want to get back on to keeping on with the football theme. In the last 6 games, the New York Giants have lost. It has been by an average of 36 points. Yeah. What's happening in New York?
I mean, just these last 2 games, they've lost combined 69-7.
It's ridiculous.
38-0 to Carolina, 31-7 last week against Kansas City. I don't know what it is this week about. This week, I'll get into this week a little bit later when we do pick'ems, but I don't know what it is. Eli Manning is tied with Geno Smith for most turnovers in the league right now. I think he has 11. He has 8 interceptions and 3 fumbles. I don't get it. I don't know what it is. The funny thing was, they said this is the worst they've ever been since '87, and the year before that, when they won the Super Bowl, they won the Super Bowl in '86, and then this year, and they're just 0-4. Again, is 0-4 dead rights in the NFC East? No, but if they lose this week to Eagles, they could be completely done. 0-5 is a really big hole to get out of. I don't know what is going on with them. I don't get it.
It's definitely not 0-4 is definitely not a done, because if they beat the Eagles and Denver takes care of the Cowboys, then that division's a real jumping mess.
Yeah. But 0-4, no team's ever made the playoffs starting 0-4.
First time for everything.
Again, if anything to do it, it's them, because they ride the momentum train like nobody else.
They have a 36% chance at 2-2 and a 18% chance at 1-3 opening up. So some big odds overcome. I think the problem is the lack of competent running backs. And I think it's one of those things that they have to go out and sign a couple of good.
Wilson's not bad.
Wilson's not too bad, but at the same time, he needs a little bit of help. He can't do it all.
Right, yeah.
I think if you're out there, if you're in the market, you try maybe taking a look at a low-budget guy, good value money guy, Kevin Smith. He did well for the Lions when he was up there for a couple of years. He did pretty well, and I think that's what you have to look at. You have to get creative.
Yeah.
Maybe even go after Tebow.
I don't see that happening. That'd be a big surprise. Why not Tebow and running back?
Why not Tebow running back?
I just don't get it. Like the Giants, when this team with confidence has never been a great team. They've never been great. When they won the Super Bowl, they were 9-7 both years. They made the wild card and got hot at the right time. But they obviously they've had stumbles before. They've had times where they were not that very good and they started picking it up. But this year they just look really. I don't know what is wrong with them. They just they don't look like the same team anymore. They don't look like a team that's at least they're not even competitive. Is the thing. They're not even competitive.
The Bucs are shopping Josh Freeman, who was told not to attend the last team meeting. So that's kind of like a giant FU.
This is a bad spot for Freeman. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a good kid. He looks like a good quarterback to me, but I just don't think Tampa Bay wants anything to do with him.
I think he's gone about this situation all wrong.
Yeah, I agree completely.
He could have done a lot better job than what he has.
Well, I mean,
with handling this situation.
Point blank, I think Shiano may have. I don't know if he did or not. I think he might have asked him if he wants to be backup. He said no.
I don't think he reads defense as well anymore. I think he's kind of gone the way of Mark Sanchez. He had a little bit of a spark at first, and now they're just both done. And
Sanchez is definitely.
It's a shame too because Josh Freeman's actually got a good head on his shoulders.
He's a good kid.
You don't want to see that happen to good people.
Again, there's another person. They could go after him in Jacksonville too. But again, I really think they're going to go after Bridgewater. I think that's what they're going for.
Jake Locker is out for a few weeks with the sprained hip. Once again, bad things happen to a good person.
It's a shame.
Tennessee was good.
No, not anymore.
Yeah, they still might be because no one ever gave Tennessee a chance this time. I still think Chris Johnson's not the best running back.
I don't think Fitzpatrick's good.
I don't think Fitzpatrick's quite there, but we've been surprised before.
I think the fact that Locker's not throwing an interception has helped him. He's being really careful. He's being very accurate with the football. I think Locker's really coming around this year. I think he's playing pretty good football. And now with Fitzpatrick, I mean, our friend Michael Ricker knows exactly how Fitzpatrick played in Buffalo. Not very good. Fitzpatrick was the reason.
They got E.J. Manuel, and they're doing a lot better this year than they were last year.
Fitzpatrick, yeah. So I think Tennessee takes a really big slip now because of Fitzpatrick. I think Locker has got a good head on him. Fitzpatrick, obviously.
Jake Locker was very improved. Yeah. I mean, the Titans are 3-1. I mean,
now.
But I'm just saying, now that Locker's down,
is not the answer.
Locker is down, and it's not. It's not going to be the same. Fitzpatrick's definitely not as good as Locker.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, he did have moments in Buffalo. I mean, at the same time, you can't say it's all lost in Tennessee. Because we've seen now. Alex Smith, for example, going to Kansas City, they're undefeated up there. So
I expected that.
I mean, it's one of those things that
you called it.
It's one of those things that when you look at in the hindsight of things, you can't really call it, but you don't know what's going to happen. Maybe inserting Ryan Fitzpatrick into the Titans offensive game is a good thing because certain pieces fit in certain places, and we did see Alex Smith start to fit in San Francisco. He had the fourth highest QBR in the league at the time that he took that hit, and Colin Kaepernick took over, and now we're starting to see the same thing happen. And Tim Tebow, when he got the chance in Denver, going back to what we were talking about earlier with Stu, he shined there as well. So it's one of those things you just don't know what a certain piece is going to do when it comes to offensively. Ryan Fitzpatrick could come in and do an even better job than Jake Locker. It's doubtful, but it's possible.
Because Locker, I think this season is up here, and Fitzpatrick's down here.
I just think when we haven't even seen how he fits into the offensive scheme, you can't say that he's done.
He did play the end of the game last week against the Jets, but that's Jets.
It's the Jets. But Rivers McCowan kind of agrees with me, putting a post up, the Browns being a real threat, saying the Browns just went out and won their next 2 games in the process, of course, talking about after the trade of Trent Richardson to the Indianapolis Colts. Thus, they were forced to ask this question. Is the team suddenly a real threat in the AFC? The answer lies somewhere between the extremes, and it touches on an issue that writers were reluctant to consider just after an immediately controversial trade. The Cleveland front office has executed this plan masterfully, and the trade was announced. So clearly, maybe they thought going back to offensive pieces, even though Trent Richardson is a monster, and 31 teams out of the NFL would love to have him, maybe the Browns, he just wasn't fitting their offensive scheme. Because they have come out and they have made statements the last 2 games, 21-6 over Cincinnati.
17-6.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you didn't expect them to come out and beat Cincinnati, even if it was at home, because Cincinnati is a playoff team.
Yeah, I'll say 2 things about. I'll say one negative, one positive thing. Negatively, I think the Bengals lost because they were coming off a high of beating Green Bay.
I don't think that's the case. I think that fuels momentum. It's kind of like saying it would be just exactly like saying the Seahawks couldn't win after they won a playoff game. It's exactly they couldn't win the next game.
Well,
I mean, it's exactly
the
like
positive thing I'll say about the Browns. Their defense is good. Period.
Yes.
Even before they lost Whedon and Richard, their defense is always a big part of that team. I always thought the Browns defense was a legitimate good defense. Their offense has had problems. Now they have Hoyer in there, who did back up Tom Brady in New England, so he obviously has some knowledge back there.
He backed up Ben Roethlisberger last year.
I think Brady's better than Roethlisberger. But anyway,
I'm just saying the people that he's been under.
But I think the reason the Browns are 2-2. I mean, Hoyer's good. I'm not denying he's much better.
They got a great chance to go 3-2 this weekend.
Yeah, I do. I think they do because I think again I'm on that train. I think the Bills winning against the Ravens is a high. They have to come down from that's a tough one for them to do because they almost lost. Flacco threw 5 interceptions. But let's see when Cleveland plays a legitimate good team. I still think Cincinnati losing to Green Bay. They're coming off a big high.
I still think they're going to beat Baltimore. I mean,
I don't know about that. They only lost by 8, which is fine. But I'll start believing that right now, 2-2. I'm not believing yet.
I know they're going to beat the Steelers at both places. The Steelers are playing horrible. I mean, it's just when you start to look, you've got 3 wins coming up at least for them. And I don't see how if AFC West, the Chiefs take a misstep, you could be definitely looking at my prediction coming true,
right?
And the Browns being, but also if they don't, if they keep this up, but they've got 2 losses coming with the Broncos.
Yeah,
you never know what's going to happen in the AFC. They could get hot.
Well,
and they've got at least 3, maybe 4 games coming up in the very near future. So you have to see where that's going to play. The Browns are going to be a better than 500 team this year. Just how much better?
I don't know. I still think they're below 500. And I don't think they're a threat in the AFC. I think threats in the AFC include Denver and Kansas City and Indianapolis and New England now.
San Diego.
Miami. Those are teams I think in the AFC are really legit good teams. Cleveland 2-2, yeah, that's a good 2-0 streak. But again, they played the Vikings, who aren't very good clearly, and I still think the Bengals are better than that. They just came off a big win off the Green Bay, and they probably should have lost the game because they were up by so much, and then Green Bay came back and Green Bay gave it away. So I'm holding my bets on Cleveland at this point. They're playing very well. I like Hoyer. I like how that tight end is playing for them. Their defense is great. But let's see when they play some big time players in the AFC, and then we'll see where they go from there. But they're good on a good streak right now. Good job for Cleveland. The Indians are in the playoffs, and the Browns are doing well. We'll see what happens when they play legitimate teams.
A little bit of we'll take it back to you for a little bit of tennis news.
Yeah, tennis news real quick. Nothing too major. We'll have some tennis news in the future a little bit because of the World Tour Championships and all that. The World Tour Finals, but. David Nalbandian, a longtime veteran of the sport, retired actually recently the other day. He's been on the tour for 13 years. He's made all 4 Grand Slam semifinals. The biggest one he made the finals of Wimbledon in 2002, losing to Leighton Hewitt then. He's had a pretty good career. One of the things he wanted to do was win the Davis Cup for Argentina. He unfortunately didn't get to do that. He was a great player. Made top. His highest ranking was number 3 in 2006. So Nalbandian was a good player. He couldn't get over that hump to win a Grand Slam, but he was a very competitive player. Won a lot of tour events. It's time to go. And Nalbandian was, I thought, a good player. And he's playing an exhibition against Lindahl in November, so that's to be his last match against Lindahl against a professional match for a while anyway. But he did a good job, and good luck to him.
Last week in NASCAR. It was the house that Jimmy built, basically. Jimmy Johnson.
What'd you build? Oh.
Jimmy Johnson dominates Dover, breaking the record of Richard Petty and Bobby Allison for most wins at Dover with 8. He was tied at 7 apiece, but he now holds the record for most wins all time at Dover with 8. Matt Kenseth still holds a points lead over Jimmy Johnson, who is in 2nd, and Kyle Busch is in 3rd. they head to the land of Oz this week. They're going to Kansas Speedway this weekend for the 4th stop on the race for the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup.
Last night in the MLB playoffs, the Reds did fall to Pittsburgh, a score of 6-2. Tampa Bay knocked off Texas the night before. Tampa Bay will play Cleveland in the wild card.
Last night, actually.
Yeah, Pittsburgh will play St. Louis in the NLDS, which breaks down the baseball playoffs like this. And then NLDS, the Pirates versus the Cardinals, and the Dodgers and the Braves. In the ALDS, the Tigers at the Tigers versus Athletics, and the Rays or the Indians versus the Red Sox. That game currently in progress. So when we come back from break, we will continue headlines, a little bit of NHL, and a little bit of Heisman watch, and we'll go back to the NCAA, the little guys of football, and then we'll round it out with some pick'ems right after this on Triple Threat Talk. Stay tuned.
The late 90s, a chance meeting at summer camp between young Colin Kaepernick and Russell Wilson sparks one of the fiercest Madden rivalries of our time. They vow to become the greatest mobile quarterbacks in the NFL, so they can someday beat each other with each other in Madden. Their training regimen quickly becomes the stuff of legends. All their years of hard work have led up to this moment. Man versus man. Video game man versus video game man.
Is that how you do it?
A season 25 years in the making. Madden NFL 25. Rated E for everyone.
EA Sports. It's in the game. Official game console of the NFL.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with Big B, Brandon DeMiro, who's breaking pins over there. Not breaking bad, but breaking pins. Jesse. And the Doc, Gary Lockard. NHL gets started. Finally, the puck was dropped last night. The Chicago Blackhawks, the defending Stanley Cup champion Chicago Blackhawks, they had their ceremony. They raised the championship banner above the United Center. And they, waltzed around with the cup for the home crowd. And they did pick up the victory. They beat Alex Ovechkin and the Capitals 6-4.
High scoring game.
Not a lot of goaltending, but
a lot of offense for Chicago, which is good.
Yeah, it was a lot of offense, not a lot of defense. Apparently, it was 6-4. It was 2-1 after the first period. So between the final 2 periods, 7 goals scored amongst both teams. And then in the late game last night,
from Canada,
Canada, the Maple Leafs and Canadiens. That's always a barn burner. That's a pretty good rivalry going way back.
Yeah.
The Leafs won 4-3, and the Jets beat the Oilers 5-4. Another
the Winnipeg, not the New York.
Yeah, another Canadian matchup. So NHL is back. Just wanted to kind of get that out there. The Nashville Predators begin their season tonight, actually. They take on the St. Louis Blues. And your team, the New Jersey Devils, I believe they start tonight.
Yes.
They start tonight, so that's your quest. And, of course, the Doc doesn't like NHL.
And I'm also looking at the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, because your favorite player, Vincent
LeCavalier, greatest name in hockey,
is playing. But so it's good to get to talk some ice hockey again.
And finally a full season.
Yes, after last year, it's good to get hockey going. And we'll get a little bit more in depth into hockey next week.
I missed the lockout already.
We how dare you? We've been so busy with other things, but we'll get more in depth, talk a little bit more about the Week 1 in NHL next week.
In NCAA football action this week, Georgia makes a strong case for its national championship case, 44-41 over 10th-ranked LSU.
Really
a fantastic game, a great offensive display of both teams.
Aaron Murray.
Alabama crushes Ole Miss 25-0.
What did we say last week? You asked me, what does Alabama do to beat Ole Miss? I said, show up.
Texas A&M gets it done over Arkansas 45-33. Kentucky, for the first time in several years, does not get absolutely destroyed by Florida.
No.
24-7. And U of L, of course, did have the week off.
They won last week.
Yeah, U of L won easily. They won in a landslide.
They won easily, and it is about over
the University of Bye.
Next week, this coming week, Louisville takes on the Owls of Temple. Alabama has Georgia State, and we have
UK has South Carolina.
UK has South Carolina.
Ouch.
LSU has Mississippi State at Mississippi State. Arkansas is at Florida. And then we have Mississippi going to the wonderful land of Auburn.
And another good game, Ohio State is playing Northwestern.
Yeah, oh yeah,
that's a great good one. So with that, Doc, give us an update on Heisman Watch.
Heisman Watch, a little bit. Teddy Bridgewater stays the same at 4th place. Marcus Mariota moves up to the #1 slot at Oregon. Johnny Manziel moves down to Texas A&M. Taj Boyd stays the same at Clemson. Of course, Teddy, I just said, goes at 4th. And Aaron Murray stays at 5th. So 1 and 2 basically switch this week.
I think 1 and 3 are your leading candidates.
Yeah. I think if I did
Mariota and Taj Boyd.
I pick Taj right now.
Yeah. I think I would pick Taj right now as well.
And, it's great that Teddy is on the Heisman Watch, but he's already come out and said he's more about the team than the
that's a good thing to say. And again, he's hurt by where he plays.
Yeah, he is hurt by where he plays. He's hurt by the schedule.
And the schedule too.
It is what it is in that regard. But, I'd rather him go 12-0 than I would, if it meant them losing 1 or 2 games and him winning the Heisman. And I think he would too. He would rather have a perfect season.
And you also have to look at the fact that, he says this thing, just like Russ Smith earlier this week said he had no beef with Kentucky. I mean, that's the politically correct answer to say. So, I bet in the back of Teddy Bridgewater's mind he does want to win.
Yeah, I would say, why would he not want to? But I think with Bridgewater, I mean, again, I still firm he's the first quarterback taken because I think Jacksonville takes him.
Oh yeah, absolutely, I agree with that completely.
I mean, Jacksonville is from.
Well, he's still the #1, right? According to all the mock drafts.
You got to think where they want. They want a quarterback that plays in the pocket, and Bridgewater plays from the pocket. Manziel's probably going to. You know what? This is actually a good thing I'm thinking of. I know we're getting the NFL. Last week after Seattle beat Houston, people were burning Matt Schaub's jersey. Is Matt Schaub done in Houston? They could draft Manziel. I don't know about that.
Matt Schaub, we'll talk about that here. Actually, you know what? Before we get into pick'ems, let's run through some scores. We will talk about Matt Schaub because I did want to bring that up because obviously the Niners take on the Texans this
Johnny
week.
Manziel going to the Steelers.
49ers 35.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
He would fit their mold too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah,
he has that sort of swagger.
But again, I don't think Todd Helly's the right choice for that team offensively.
But I think Roethlisberger is done.
He's old. He's getting old.
He's not old. He's not old. He's injury.
He's getting old.
He's got a lot of injuries. So covering some scores from last week.
The 49ers get it back on track, 35-11.
The Rams look awful.
The Bills 23 over the Ravens 20, which was a surprising score. The Chiefs just absolutely destroy the Giants, 31-7.
Giants have no offense. None.
The Vikings do pull it off in jolly old England, 34-27 over the Seahawks. Yeah. We have the Seahawks 23, the Texans 20. All right, I want to talk about this Matt Schaub situation. People were burning his jersey. Matt Schaub took a couple hits that he was very slow to get up from. That bothers me for this week, especially in their chances against San Francisco. Even without Aldon Smith, that pass rush is scary.
Navarro Bowman.
They showed Navarro Bowman had the game of his life.
Yeah, the game against St. Louis was Navarro Bowman's show.
Yeah, and now this week he is his running mate, Patrick Willis.
Yeah.
Vernon Davis takes a little bit more of the pressure off Anquan Bolden. As I said a couple weeks ago, the problem in San Francisco was the fact that everybody could double and even triple team Anquan Bolden and almost not get punished for it. When Vernon Davis comes back, it definitely showed to be the case that was true. So now teams are going to have a lot harder time covering San Francisco now that they're up to 2 receivers. And when Mario Manningham comes back, followed shortly by Crabtree, it is going to be a scary offense because who do you cover in that case? Who do you cover?
Who the heck knows?
The Colts 37 over the Jaguars, 3, and of course with the banner flying over. And one more score of note here, I wanted to mention here: the Broncos 52 over the Eagles 20. The Broncos side note here, on pace for 719 points.
And another side note: Peyton Manning did not play the 4th quarter.
Yeah, he did not play the 4th.
52, and he really didn't play the 4th quarter.
Again.
52 points.
I am very interested in the game this week because he's playing a team that has somewhat of a defense.
Yeah. And they're playing DeMarcus Ware. And he's really good.
Did you close it?
Yeah,
okay.
So with that, let's move on to pick'ems. And since Top Dino still reigns in the possession of Big B,
let's look at the
I guess
board.
since, you know, Doc, we pick on him so much, it's only fair that we let him lead in pick'ems.
Yeah.
You let me. Okay.
Yeah. You had to talk with me. You said you need to really relinquish Top Dino, and I said, okay.
You let me.
To make Big B feel that.
You told me to pick the Bills last week, right?
I did. I said,
Well, no, actually, whatever you pick, we go reverse just the hopes that you win. That's our ploy.
Exactly.
We have a plan.
So this week, don't pick the Jaguars, and we will.
Okay, go for it.
So Buffalo versus Cleveland, Mr. Top Dino.
You know what? I'm going to go with the Browns. I think Cleveland's playing really good football.
I think Cleveland's playing very good football. I'm going to take the Browns.
I'm going to go against the both of yous. I'm going with the slight edge to the Bills.
All right. So he starts off the week going different. This could prove costly.
New Orleans versus the Bears.
They're not playing in the Dome, so this is a slight edge to Chicago a little bit just because they're not playing in New Orleans. But I think the way New Orleans' offense is running on all cylinders now, I don't think anybody can stop it. Maybe a few teams, maybe Seattle and San Francisco. I pick New Orleans.
I agree completely. Actually, I'm gonna pick the Saints.
I'll pick the Saints as well. The New England Patriots against the Cincinnati Bengals.
The Patriots don't have a lot of weapons, and they still beat the Falcons. I picked the Patriots. The Patriots with Tom Brady, you can always just pick them, and they'll do all right.
I'm gonna pick New England.
I'll pick New England as well. The Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers.
You know, it's hard to think that the Packers are going to be 1-3, but I picked the Lions here. I think that explosive offense with Reggie Bush is just phenomenal. The Lions are one of my favorite teams to watch because of Reggie Bush. I picked the Lions.
I am going to differ from that. The Packers proved at San Francisco that they had to make them pass to win. I think they're going to shut down the run on Reggie Bush. This is a divisional game at Lambeau. It's very hard to win at Lambeau. The defense at Detroit has not really shown me a whole lot. I'm going to go with Green Bay.
I'll take Green Bay as well. Kansas City Chiefs against the Tennessee Titans.
If Tennessee had Jake Locker, I'd probably pick Tennessee, but I think Kansas City rides the undefeated train and keeps going undefeated.
Kansas goes 5-0. I'm picking Chiefs.
As he says on he's one of my favorite radio announcers when they play the highlights on Sports Center on the radio. Touchdown, Kansas City! I'll take the Chiefs.
Anyway.
The Seattle Seahawks, a game that our colleague Big B will be in attendance and on location. The Seahawks go on the road to take on the Indianapolis Colts. And I know you are...
Are you going? You're going to be back in time for the pay-per-view?
Well, you're not even watching the pay-per-view anyway.
Well,
I might be. I don't know. I should be close. I don't...
Here's a statistic, by the way.
Okay.
Just to give him the
just to sway me.
At home, Indiana is a 1-point dog to Seattle.
Seattle's a 1-point favorite.
Seattle by 1.
That basically means the Colts would have been a field goal favorite, but they took 4 points and gave it to Seattle. So it's basically a pick 'em.
Yeah, it's a pick 'em.
It's a pick 'em.
It's a pick 'em, right?
It's a wash.
You know, last week they were losing to Houston, and my dad was like saying it's over. It's like, no, it's never over with this team. They have that extra drive in them. They can come back, and they did.
Drive.
But I'd rather have them lose last week than lose this week because I'll be attending. I think Indy's just phenomenal. I pick Indy. I don't want to peek against them, but I pick it.
Whoa! He picks against his own team.
Again, I want Seattle to win, but I think Indy's gonna win.
This game is tough. Indianapolis Colts, of course, did beat a very battered St. Louis 49ers team. So you really can't judge what they can do and what they can't do.
It's tough.
It is. The Seahawks did have to come from behind to a weaker Texas team last week. You know what? I gotta pick the Colts. I think the Seahawks start off 4-1.
Yeah.
I said it earlier. I'll say it again. This may very well be Seattle's only loss of the season.
Don't do that to me.
I picked the Colts. Jacksonville in the Triple Threat Talk Toilet Bowl game of the week.
You go from one that's hard to pick, one that's so easy.
The Jacksonville Jaguars against the St. Louis Rams.
Now here's the thing.
The line on this
is 12.
11 and a half.
With the Rams.
The Rams. Next week, you can probably guarantee 20 more points added onto that. So
it might be 35 and a half next week.
This is my statement for every Jacksonville game. It could be playing in St. Louis. It could be playing on the surface of the moon. I picked the Rams in a wash.
I picked the Rams.
I mean, the Rams, and let's hope that
and it could be more
the poor
than
people of Orlando.
Kurt Warner will go back and play.
Let's hope the people of Orlando get a better game than this to watch. The Baltimore Ravens against the Miami Dolphins.
Oh my God.
Miami slipped up a little bit Monday Night Football. They had a lot of bad turnovers. Ryan Tannehill didn't really protect the football.
It's hard to beat the Saints.
Well, you gotta protect the football.
Yeah.
But I think Miami bounces back this week. I think they beat Baltimore.
I picked the Dolphins.
I picked the Dolphins. In another game of the Philadelphia Eagles, the 1-3 Eagles, go to the 0-4 Giants.
Are you kidding me with that line?
What's the line?
1 point New York.
No, Giants -1.
Yeah, it's New York.
That means the Phillies favorite.
Yeah, it's insane.
Phillies favorite by 1.
It's got to be a lot more than that.
You know, it is a divisional matchup. The Giants just can't do. I don't know what they're doing. If they lose this game, they're done. I don't know why I'm doing it. I'm picking the Giants. I am picking them to win this game.
I can't do that. I can't do it.
It might be the only time I pick them.
I can't do it. I'm picking Philly.
Right.
I'll say it, but it probably won't mean anything. You can't spell elite without Eli. And I want to see an elite Eli this week.
He hasn't been elite in a while.
I picked the Giants. So with that, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up Pick'ems. And we'll get into Brian Cannon and another special interview. Stay tuned for that. Triple Threat Talk. Don't go anywhere.
The game's on the line. You're the star of the team. You deserve to smell fresh with a confident clean. You took a 40-minute shower and missed the second half of the game.
And welcome back here on the show. We were rolling along with Pick'ems. So let's keep it going. Top Dino, Big B. The Carolina Panthers against the Arizona Cardinals.
I like this. I like Carolina. They're one of my wild card picks, and with Atlanta struggling as they are, I think Carolina has a good chance of still having a chance at a wild card. I pick Carolina.
I'm gonna have to pick Carolina too. Arizona has kind of struggled against the run, and you know they're gonna face that with Cam Newton.
I mean, look what happened last week. They were down 10-0 to Tampa Bay, and they barely came back and won 13-10.
I pick Carolina as well.
Carolina.
Go Panthers.
In Jerry World, Tony Romo and the Dallas Cowboys take on
Sheriff,
the fastest gunslinger in the West.
Denver's favored by 8 at Dallas.
Wow,
that's pretty.
That's low.
That's not really. That's kind of high.
It's kind of high.
To be at
a little high.
Dallas, the Broncos, and the Cowboys.
Now, let's look at the teams they've played so far this season. The Ravens have not really come up to that.
Not like they should.
They played the Raiders, the Raiders.
The Giants.
Look how they are. They played the Eagles.
But they are averaging 40-plus points a game.
This is the first team they'll play that has legitimate tough defense, I think. So they're not going to score, I think, 40 points. I say they maybe score maybe 28-30. But I still pick Denver.
I'm going to pick Denver.
Denver.
In a rare, I know you're doing this, you do the pick'ems, but this is the first of a rare Sunday night football game. The Chargers and Oakland was changed to 11:35 to suit the playoffs.
Yeah,
so continue.
For Major League Baseball.
The Athletics play Houston. The Athletics and the
Houston Texans versus the San Francisco 49ers.
You know, Houston has to be really reaming from that loss last week. They were up 20-3.
Reeling? Not reaming. Reeling.
Whatever.
If you're reaming, you're yelling at somebody.
They're probably yelling at each other. But they're probably reaming. They're probably yelling at everybody. You know, obviously, thinking of that 20-3 lead they had last week at home, they can't sit too well with them and the fans. And now they're going to San Francisco, where San Francisco is really getting back on track with the way they play football. I feel bad for Houston because they got a good team in there, but I picked the Niners.
If this game was at Texas, I'd actually pick the Houstons. But
the Houstons?
The Houstons.
Okay.
I'm going to pick the Niners. They're just getting the pieces back. They're not all back together, but they have a lot of the main pieces coming back this week.
So,
I'm picking the Niners.
So the Texas now, like the Anaheim, the Texans of Houston.
Yeah, that's right.
Houston, we have a problem, and his name is Patrick Willis. I picked the Niners.
I agree with you every week.
The San Diego Superchargers go on the road to Oakland. Terrell Pryor is back, and Matt Flynn was designated as the third stringer. Undrafted rookie Matt McGoin will be the second string quarterback this week as the Chargers take on the Raiders.
It only gets from bad to worse with Matt Flynn. This game will be, and I like how Adam Schefter put this on Facebook, it's Monday morning football because it's going to take place 11:35 our time. By the time it's over, it'll be like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. So wake up with NFL. I pick San Diego.
I'm going to have to pick San Diego.
San Diego as well. The Monday Night Football game of the week. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Here's what I want to know.
The New York Jets.
Is Kerry going to be on twice
versus football? No, because the second game is actually on the NFL Network.
Okay.
Atlanta Falcons and the New York Jets.
And the Atlanta Falcons are mad.
I can't see Atlanta losing again. I can't think Atlanta. If they lose again, there's big problems in Atlanta.
If they lose again, so goes my Super Bowl.
If they lose again,
jump on the Seahawks, man.
I'm picking the Falcons.
The Falcons.
Yeah, they are the Falcons right now, aren't they?
So with that, we'll take a quick break.
What?
And when we come back, we'll have an interview with the one and only Mr. Andy Lindahl. He is from 850 KOA in Denver, host of Primetime Sports, and is the Denver Broncos game day sideline reporter. Pretty good treat for you all. Stay tuned with that. We'll be right back here on Triple Threat Talk. Don't go anywhere.
IWU Louisville knows business. Not only did I earn my graduate degree, but I experienced a well-rounded education that benefits me my entire life.
The enrollment experience here is fantastic. They fit it around my schedule. They know I'm working. They know I have a family. They really took an interest in my goals here at IWU. IWU knows business.
Indiana Wesleyan University, Louisville. Change your life, change your work.
And welcome everybody back to here Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with my co-host Big B, Brandon DeMiro, and the Doc, Gary Locker. We head to the hotline right now, talking with an individual who's the host of Primetime Sports on 850 KOA in Denver and the Denver Broncos sideline reporter on game days, Mr. Andy Lindahl. Andy, how are you, sir?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
We're doing well. We're doing well. Before we get going here, we were talking during the break. You said you got a little breaking news regarding the defense and Danny Trevathan. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, unfortunately, it sounds like Danny was carted off the field today during practice. Now, we the media are only allowed to watch the first 20 minutes of practice, so it happened at a time it was being unobserved by the media. Somehow Jake Glazier, who must have good sources inside the Broncos, he found out about it. He tweeted it out about midday today. The team, Coach John Fox addressed the media after practice, did not make mention of it. The team did put it on its injury report because I am assuming that that obviously they knew that it was out there thanks to Jake Glazier. So it is just being called a knee right now. Again, you hear knee and carted off, and you don't think good thoughts. It could just be a twist. Let's hope it's something good for Danny because the team needs him. But you're always scared when you hear the words carted off associated with the knee injury. So we'll wait and we'll find out. We'll see if the team reveals anything else tomorrow. Again, if he gets carted off, though, even if it was a severe sprain, I don't imagine he's going to have a very good status for this upcoming game. So we'll wait and see.
Right. So with Trevathan now probably out for this Sunday, and you have Champ Bailey, is there any update on Champ Bailey? Do you think he's going to try to give it a go this week?
Well, we're still waiting. We're still waiting to hear what's going to happen with Champ. So we'll see what happens with Champ Bailey. And I don't know. Every week they say he's going to come back, and he doesn't quite make it onto the field. And so we'll see if he can finally get that arch fixed and get to the point. Because it is a Liz Frank deal, so that's part of the arch of your foot. It was the same thing that kind of knocked out Ryan Clay. Now, Champ supposedly is not as severe. That's why he's trying to come back. But we've been told for 3 straight weeks that things are going to be okay with him, and that was not the case. So we'll wait. Hopefully the team's just being cautious there. Champ every week seems like he's ready to go. He's moving around okay. He doesn't show any offensive in the locker room. But they do have some young players playing well, like Kayvon Webster. So maybe that's the reason why the team feels comfortable not rolling him out there. But we'll see. It's a big wait to see. I think the team is more worried right now about getting Vaughn Miller back here in a couple games. I can't believe I'd ever say that about Champ, but especially if Danny's down, they're going to need help at linebacker right now more than they appear to need help in the secondary.
speaking of Von Miller, what were your thoughts on the initial suspension and then the latest reports last week by Adam Schefter to say that he kind of tainted the test in collusion with the guy, giving the test, and that's why the suspension was went from 4 to 6 games. Do you think that 6 games in this situation was long enough, or are you surprised that he didn't get a longer suspension than what he got?
Well, I guess considering that the league kind of knows that sometimes there are issues between the sample takers and some of the players, I guess Lawrence Taylor in a documentary referred to how that kind of goes on, and there's kind of under the table deals and so on and so forth. Maybe the league knew, or maybe they didn't have the evidence that completely needed to buzz on. We all thought it was going to be 4, so the fact that it jumped to 6 was a surprise to a lot of people. The fact that they were talking about it here was a surprise to a lot of people. Now it becomes interesting because he cannot afford any more slip-ups. So what's going to happen for Vaughn, as far as a Denver fan and our perspective right now, I don't think anybody really cares. As long as he's not basically killing anybody or getting high amounts of DUIs the way that some of the front office did with the high VAC and so on and so forth, you don't want him to be a threat to society. But, a couple speeding tickets, the other stuff that's been reported, when you put it in context, he has trouble speeding and then remembering to go to court. That's basically been his problem all along. That's annoying. You don't like hearing about that level of irresponsibility. But I think at the end of the day, the fans just want to see that guy on the field trying to get sacks. Now, he's going to have to clean up whatever this is that he's got going on. It's been alleged to be pot that has been his problem. Whatever. I guess he did have a failed pot test early on. That's how he was through this phase of the drug testing program in the first place. So what I'm curious to see is, can he stay clean? And the other thing that's really going to be interesting, really from Vaughn's point of view, is he's cost himself a lot of money in this situation because the Broncos kind of went through this with Brandon Marshall. Now, Brandon Marshall's discretions were much more distasteful because he seemed to have issues with domestic violence or was accused of domestic violence, and that's just not something any team wants one of their players being known for. But the reality is, when a player is so close to getting year suspension, like Brandon was, like Vaughn now is, like DJ Williams with the DWA problem last year were, now you're talking about not really having a team like the Broncos trusting to give you a lot of guaranteed money. And Vaughn was probably going to set the record for a defensive contract when his number came up here in the next couple of years. Now, that's not going to be the case. Vaughn has to stay straight. He cannot afford another suspension because he's so close to getting that 1-year suspension. Come contract time in a couple of years, I think it's going to be real interesting to see the poker game between the Broncos and the player.
Right.
Andy, Big B here. This Sunday, obviously, they go to Dallas and play the Cowboys, but looking forward ahead past that game, they go to play home against Jacksonville, and obviously it's already out there that this is going to be the biggest point spread in the history of the NFL. Realistically, how big do you think that point spread is going to be, and do you think Peyton Manning plays even a half of that game?
Yeah, it might be reverting back to preseason. I don't know what the point spread will get to. If Danny Trevathan is out for an extended period of time, and I guess we'll wait to see what we know by the end of the week, that may change the point spread a bit. Now, against Jacksonville, I guess I don't know. I think you're looking at minimum 28 points. I don't know how high it'll go for the action play. If the Broncos suffer down week this week, if DeMarcus Ware exposes Chris Clark, their left tackle, filling in for Ryan Clay a little bit more, if defense can't stop the run the way that they want to in MJD, presumably it's still a Jaguar, and it looks like the Jaguars might be taking all offers for all players as they're shipping their left tackle to Baltimore right now. I would say that the point spread will probably vary depending on what happens with the Cowboys. If the Cowboys get run out of their own building the way Denver's done to the other teams that they've played so far, including the Giants that's in the same division, then I think that point spread grows pretty high. Maybe even 35 points. But if they have a down week this week, maybe see that point spread come down a little bit more, maybe not be quite as big as people had predicted.
With Peyton's early season performance here in the early going, 16 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I know it's early in the season. They are 4-0. I am actually a Broncos fan myself here in Louisville. My two colleagues, we got a 49ers fan on the show and a Seahawks fan on the show. So we like a lot of the Western teams, but here in Kentucky. But what are your thoughts about Peyton's performance transitioning to the playoffs? Yeah, we know they're off to the hot start. They're 4-0. They got bounced out by Baltimore in the early going last season. How can they transition this success that they're having now to make a deep run to the playoffs and possibly to the Super Bowl?
Well, what they need is, frankly, some more weather. As much as everybody's down, and believe me, the Denver fans are down on what took place last year in the playoffs against Baltimore. I know Maine's history is great in the playoffs, but everyone has to remember that Maine did play a pretty good game. The offense did account for 21 points that day. As the night went on, and it became historically colder and colder, and that was a historically cold day for Denver, the day that they happened to play. It actually warmed up a little bit the next day, much to just kind of rub salt in the wound here in Denver. If they can avoid those kind of conditions, then they'll be okay. Maine's hand froze up. He couldn't feel it quite as well as he wanted to. That was talked about just because of how cold it got, and he continues to recover from the injury. That was another side effect of everything. So I think that they have a chance to make that work. But I don't know. Look, this is a different Denver offense. Here's the reality. Last year, one of their failings was they couldn't get a running game going. I'll tell you why that's different this year. It's different this year because Wes Welker kind of is their running game. He may be playing wide receiver, but he is uncoverable on those 5 to 7 yard routes, in which Peyton Manning's thrown a lot. And so when they need the chunk of change like they needed to get the first down in that game, Wes Welker, I think, is going to be the difference maker. I think it would be an easier throw. And I think that's why the Broncos are confident they'll have playoff success. I still think at some point one of these running backs is going to have to identify themselves as the #1 guy. I know Sean's on his way to doing that, but I wouldn't be surprised if Monte Ball starts to show a little bit more towards the end of the year to get the feel for things. But overall, Wes Welker was their answer to the Denver fan base if they're worried about playoff success. He's been uncomfortable. He put Marius and Decker there together with Julius Thomas, who emerged as a surprise as the tight end. It's a pretty formidable offense that may not keep scoring in the 40s and the 50s, but I think will be well capable of 20 to 35 points even in the playoffs.
Speaking of the running backs, of the 3 guys that are on the team there with Monte Ball and Hillman and then Moreno, who is your favorite? Like, who do you see? I know you said Moreno looks like to be taking the lead, but from your perspective, who do you like best? What do you like best out of what you've seen so far out of the the three-man attack at running back?
Well, I think Ronnie Hillman's your most explosive. Ronnie Hillman's the guy that has the ability, if you miss him, to take it all the way to the house. Moreno's the smartest. Moreno's running like the first-round pick that he was. I think a lot of people do forget he was a first-round pick drafted 12th overall. And it took him 3 years, but he's finally showing that ability. Moreno's problem is he has to prove that you can trust him as far as staying healthy, and he's not going to end up injured at a critical time. Again, going back to the Baltimore playoff loss, the Broncos are rolling, and then Moreno got hurt. And once Moreno got hurt, the game plan came off its field, and they didn't have a back big enough and good enough and blitz pickup to keep him there the entire time and keep that game plan together. So I think Moreno is really going to be the key, and I'd like to see. I think Monte Ball runs hard, and I like the type of back that he is, and I'm curious to see how he grows in his career. But there's not a lot of time for rookies to get their feet wet in this offense or in this year. It is Super Bowl or bust, and it's going to be that way the next 2 years. So I'm curious to see how Monte Ball looks at the end of the year. I think he's the most complete back of the bunch. Right now, I think because of shortcomings of young eyes and not seeing a lot in the NFL for Hillman and Ball, I think it's really Moreno's job to kind of lose. And he could do that through injury. I hope he doesn't, but he could.
Right.
Going back to the Danny Trevathan situation for a second, with Denver mainly playing kind of more of a nickel kind of defensive stance, I didn't know if you felt that might actually help them in the long run to kind of run out for that the extra cornerback in the 3rd position, or if you think that even though Danny Trevathan is a big part of the defensive scheme, the amount of plays that he comes on and off the field, does that simplify it for the defense, or do you think it's actually a lot more hindering than that?
No, I mean, if they lose Danny, that's a huge deal. I think he was in there for 50-something snaps. I mean, he's like Wesley Woodyard, where they both don't leave. They both play in the base set, and then they're nickel linebackers, and they have the ability to cover running back and the ability to cover a tight end. So if they lose Danny, that's a big loss for the defense, and I'm not sure they have another player that they can plug in there to take his spot.
All right. Want to ask you this, too. I know you're a Broncos fan like me, and you cover the Broncos a lot. We had Liz Matthews from the Seahawks on last week, and we were talking about the Seahawks, and we asked her this question, and I'll pose the same question to you. Who would you rather have up to this point of the season, the Broncos offense or the Seattle Seahawks defense?
The Broncos Denver's offense, and I think it'll sound like people can call me a homer, but if you look at the way, here's two things for you. First off, you look at what Manning's doing in his control of everything and the weapons that they have. It's proven to be too much for everybody that they face. And along with that, there's another reason why I take the offense, because the game is set up for offense. The rules are slanted for receivers. The rules are slanted to help defenses not cover. Look, Seattle, they had a nice comeback win against Houston, but there were a number of calls that could have been pass interference if you get the picky refs out there. And that's just the way the game is set up. The NFL wants points on the board. They want touchdowns. They want big fantasy numbers. And for that reason, that's why I would take Denver's offense. And frankly, I'd probably pick another couple offenses out of there just because the game is slanted towards the offense right now.
Right. All right, cool. Well, Andy, listen, we really appreciate your time, and we thanks for having you on, and we look forward to having you again on the show real soon.
Guys, thanks for having me. Take care.
All right, thank you. And that was Andy Lindahl from the 850 KOA in Denver, also the Denver Broncos sideline reporter on game day. It's good having him on the show. He was very insightful.
Absolutely.
Gave us a little breaking news that I'm frankly not too happy about. Danny Trevathan goes down with an injury.
When it gets bad, it gets worse.
He gets carted off the field, so we'll have more details with that. So when we get back from this break, we will continue on with the show. Stay tuned. Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Big B, and the Doc. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Run! Go! Go! Did he just fumble? I formation! I formation! We have got to get the three technique block. I'm not angry. I'm not yelling. Nobody's tackling anybody! We got absolutely...
I don't think this was such a good idea.
I'm on it.
We can't secure the quarterback-center exchange.
You're doing a great job, Coach.
Well, they're coming along better than I anticipated. Very pleased.
Who told you to take a break?
Want to win your own football fantasy? Just tell us. Then use your Visa card for a chance to win it.
And welcome back here on the show. We want to really thank Mr. Andy Lindahl for taking the time to join us. Little breaking news there involving Danny Trevathan. We hope all is well there. I'm definitely not something that I didn't want to hear, and I know you as a Kentucky fan, you don't like to see any Kentucky alum get hurt.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting way to play, because when they look at Danny Trevathan and Wesley Woodyard, there's just two huge pieces of the Broncos defense.
Yeah, big, huge.
Yeah,
and it's amazing that these two guys, these two huge pieces, are from the same school.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen all. I don't think it doesn't. I've never heard of that before.
No, I mean, and you know, it's one of those things. UK's defense has always been good, even through the Joker years and all. It's just they give up when they're getting drubbed. 45. Yeah, I mean,
they can only do so much.
You can't put points on the board, but UK's defense has always been there. And I think that the fact that both Trevathan and Woodyard are playing for a professional team together, I think that's a great testament to that fact.
So we're 2 for 2 on this question.
Yes.
Liz picked the Seahawks, and Andy picked the Broncos.
Right.
So
we need an impartial person to answer this.
I guess we're going to need an impartial person. Maybe we can get Adam Schefter on the show.
Or Michelle Beaver.
We know you would enjoy that.
I would enjoy that too, for the record.
So
I think Cody would be mad.
That's headlines this week. I know they were lengthy, but we had a lot of good stuff for you. Several good interviews. We'll have more of that for you as the show expands. We're looking to get plenty of interviews. 1 to 2 to 3 a week. I know you all like fresh content. You don't like to hear us blabble all the time, so it's fun to get a fresh take on the show every now and then.
We're so blabbing, it's just another voice blabbing with them.
Speaking of fresh takes, let's send it over to the satellite studios of Triple Threat Talk and our good friend Brian Cannon with this week's OVWMania blog spot. Mr. Cannon, take it away, sir.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of OVWMania here on Triple Threat Talk. I am Brian Cannon, and this week we're going to be talking about the latest edition of OVW TV, which was filmed on Wednesday, October 2nd at the Davis Arena. This was episode number 737, and I titled it on OVWMania.blogspot.com, Win or Go Home, and you'll find out why a little bit later. The show started off with the OVW Heavyweight Champion, Jamin Olivencia, coming to the ring. He brought a contract that he wanted Moose to sign. He called for Moose to come out. He got Timmy Danger, Moose's representative and manager, instead. And Timmy Danger said, "Do you think this is all about a title shot?" He said it's not just about that, and he calls Jamin egotistic and self-centered. And Jamin says that he wants Moose to have this signed by the end of the night, and shoves Timmy Danger down with the contract. Backstage, Michael Titus is with the Femme Fatales, and he said there's going to be a special 3-corner tag team match featuring the teams of the Blossom Twins, Taylor Hendricks and Lovely Lila, and Raylyn and Lady Tapa. He then turns to Jessie Belle and says that because of injuries within the Femme Fatale division, that since she doesn't have a partner, unfortunately she won't be able to compete. And she asked about finding a partner, and he said that would be fine if she can find somebody. Next match of the night was supposed to be the OVW television title match with the Pope Elijah Burke defending against Rockstar Spud. However, before the match can even get started, the Marauders come out and attack. They want the TV title back, and the Marauders also have 2 new members. With Shiloh Jones, Raul Lamada, Joe Coleman, and Nick Dumeyer last night was Clint Poe and a masked man who was dressed all in black. So that should be interesting to see how that develops over the next few weeks, to see who exactly the masked man is. Jay Bradley was out next. He said that unfortunately, due to injuries, Marcus Anthony would not get his rematch against him at SNS. Marcus does come out to the ring and says that he has been cleared by doctors, but he wants to make sure he's 100% ready for the Saturday night special. So he won't be facing Jay tonight, but he wants to show Jay what power and strength is all about. So he has someone for him, and Rob Terry returned and had a match with Jay and was pretty much dominating most of the match. Towards the end of the match, he clotheslined Jay out of the ring, and as Jay gets up, he takes out Marcus's leg again, and then Rob chases him off to the back, and Rob and the officials have to help carry Marcus back to the back because of his leg that was clipped by Jay. So that match basically ended in no contest. Backstage, Jessie Belle approaches the Mobile Homers, who are still playing with their lottery scratch-off tickets. She asked Brittany DeVore if she'll partner with her, but Brittany's too involved in the lottery tickets to be able to help her. Then we see the body guy and Melvin Maximus trying to rally guys like Elvis Pridemore, the VIP Club, Aaron Sky, and Stephon J. Baxter III to help him rally against the assassin, and none of them really care to join his crusade. As Stephon leaves the room, Jessie Belle approaches him and says, "Hey, do you know anybody that can team with me?" And then she says, "Wait a second, I have an idea," and drags him away. The next match was a 4-way Femme Fatale tag match because Jessie Belle brought out her partner, Stephanie, which was Stephon J. Baxter in a wig and a dress. And he accidentally got de-wigged by Raylyn during the match, and so all the Femme Fatales ganged up on him, and he got put away with a big boot from Lady Tapa, and Taylor scored the pin on him to eliminate him and Jessie Belle. Then it was Taylor and Lila that were eliminated next after the Blossoms pinned Lila, and then Lady Tapa took out the Blossoms to win the match for the team of her and Raylyn. And then after the match, she delivered her finisher twice to Hannah Blossom to make a statement heading into this Saturday's SNS. Heading into their tag team title match at SNS, Michael Hayes was able to defeat Jesse Goddard. Ali and Rudy got involved, and in a reversal from what happened last week, Ali kicked Jesse in the head after he had delivered a sunset flip to Michael Hayes. And after he got kicked in the head, Michael Hayes was able to get the pin while the ref, I think it was Chris Sharp, tried to get Rudy back out of the ring. Then to end the night, Jamin came back out and he said, "Time's up." He goes, "I want an answer. I want to know if the contract's been signed." Timmy Danger crutches his way out again and says that it is signed, but there's a special stipulation. He said not only is it a no disqualification match, but the loser must leave OVW. Jamin says he's not scared and gets in Timmy Danger's face. Moose comes out and tries to attack from behind, but Jamin catches him, fires away on him. Timmy Danger hits Jamin from behind with a crutch. Doesn't really phase him, though. Jamin goes after Danger, but Moose then picks up the crutch and just lays the crutch in again and again to Jamin and leaves him laying in the ring and holds the title up over his fallen body to end the show. So, very interesting stipulation, and it points to the possibility that one of them have either been signed by TNA or WWE. More likely to me, Jamin might be getting a shot at WWE. He just had his match with Ryback a couple weeks ago on SmackDown. Because if it was like a TNA thing, you know, Jesse Goddard and Lady Tapa Rob, Terry, Rockstar Spud, they still compete down here and in TNA. It wouldn't affect them having to leave OVW. So I would think there's a possibility that Jamin might be under a WWE deal now and be moving to Orlando. The only other possibility is if Moose came back just for a couple weeks for kind of a swan song, and maybe he's getting out of it. But I really don't see that as the probable answer. I think we might have a new champion at SNS. I think we might have one of our favorites down here in OVW leaving to make it big in WWE. That's just speculation at this point from me. But you know, as sad as it would be for Jamin to go from down here, it's an awesome opportunity if that's the case. It's always cool seeing your stars down here that you get to see each and every week make it on the big stage. So if so, congratulations to him. I guess we'll find out more after Saturday Night Special this weekend. Don't forget, if you're in the Louisville area, the SNS happens this Saturday, October the 5th, 2013. James Moose Thomas trying to get the OVW heavyweight title from Jamin Olivencia. The winner is the champion. The loser leaves OVW. Also, Hannah Blossom defending the OVW Women's Championship against Lady Tapa. Michael Hayes and Muhammad Ali Vaez defend the OVW Southern Tag Team Championships against the best team ever of Rudy Switchblade and Jesse Goddard. The Pope Elijah Burke will be defending the OVW television title, plus much, much more. It'll be a great show that you do not want to miss. So next week on the show, I will be talking about what happened at SNS, as well as next week's edition of OVW Television. I'd like to thank everybody that always, sends me, great comments or retweets my stuff. Everybody from Chris Sharp, Terry Bodie, Michael Hayes is usually really good about retweeting my stuff. Lately, Evan Markopoulos, who's just joined the roster. I actually talked to him a lot on Twitter last night, and he's a really cool guy, and I wish the best success for him. He retweeted a lot of my stuff, and I got to talk to him. He's a really cool guy, so I hope he does really well. He's still young. He's still got a large, bright future ahead of him. And then, of course, I'd like to thank the OVWMania readers. Don't forget you can catch what happened in the dark matches, the top 20s and all that at ovwmania.blogspot.com. And thank you to everyone that's watching this right now on Triple Threat Talk. And as I'm filming this, today is day 1 of the playoffs for the St. Louis Cardinals as they face the Pittsburgh Pirates in the division series. So go St. Louis, and we're going to send it back to the studios. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you all again soon.
I know he's happy with the St. Louis Cardinals now fresh in the postseason of the MLB.
Well, I'm sorry, they're going down.
Raise the Jolly Roger.
Raise the Jolly Roger.
I think the Pirates are going to beat the Cardinals.
Raise the Jolly Roger.
I have to say something I say very rarely. Go Cardinals.
This is coming from a Reds fan.
I got to, because you all know my disdain for the city of Steel.
Well, that's just Pittsburgh Steelers, not the whole team.
Well, I'm sorry that you all couldn't beat Pirates in 4 games. You had 4 tries, and you couldn't even win one! And you couldn't do it.
They were talking about something. I know we're entering wrestling here, but that does bring up a good point. They were talking earlier today, will Dusty Baker be back? And you got to figure he will be.
Yeah, they said he will be back.
Even though his record at
0-9
time is not good.
0-9 actually. 0-9 in the postseason.
It's one of those things. What do? Do you buy him out and not able to expand your front office, or do you ride out this year and get in some fresh faces next year?
Dusty Baker has a worse record in the playoffs than Peyton Manning. I didn't know that was possible.
Oh man, that's bad.
Rubbing your own boy there.
I'm sorry, I had to do it. So, Battleground this weekend, this past Monday on Raw, a whole lot happened. It was basically just build up for Battleground.
We saw a proposal, another proposal.
Paul Heyman to Ryback. He proposed to become a Paul Heyman guy.
Will you be a Paul Heyman guy?
But we'll get into the matches here. Just pick them real quick.
So the WWE.com/Facebook.com/YouTube.com/WWEM/PS3/Xbox Live pre-show match. Dolph Ziggler takes on Damien Sandow.
I think Dolph Ziggler wins and Damien Sandow continues his losing streak.
Damien Sandow's been really in the doghouse lately. He's been really losing since he won that thing. This is an interesting matchup because both
thing. It's now a thing.
Yes.
Since he lost that thing.
It's a thing.
they've both been struggling because Ziggler obviously had his problems with management and all the things he said, and Sandow hasn't won a match since he won the Money in the Bank. So it's kind of who's worse in their eyes for them. But I think Ziggler wins. I think they're going to really start pushing Sandow down just because they want to raise him back up.
Ziggler, I think, starts the first ladder of his push again.
All right, we have Cody Rhodes and Goldust versus Rollins and Reigns. If Cody Rhodes and Goldust win, Cody gets his job back and Goldust gets a job.
I really don't see any explanation needed here. I think obviously Rhodes and
I think Rhodes wins with the help of Big Show. I think he gets involved somehow. I really do.
I think I think the Big Show's coming later in the night. I think he's gonna do something later. I pick Rhodes and Goldust. This is an easy one. I don't think they're gonna fire Cody Rhodes and
Punk and Ryback.
Punk. Divas Championship, AJ Lee takes on Brie Bella. I don't really see them.
AJ Lee.
I don't see them putting the belt on Brie.
Maybe.
You know, I kind of do. I kind of see
power couple.
Yeah. Then why'd you pick AJ? Why'd you pick AJ?
I don't know. I'm just saying that.
I kind of like the power couple idea here, especially flying in the face of Randy Orton.
Brie and Brian.
I think they have Brie win this one just because I think they want her to be the one overcome kind of the bully in AJ. So I pick Brie.
I'm still sticking with AJ.
Alberto Del Rio takes on Rob Van Dam for the world title. It is hardcore rules, which something RVD knows very well.
Del Rio wins with the help of Ricardo Rodriguez.
I don't think
that's a bold pick. I picked Del Rio.
I picked Del Rio.
I don't think RVD was brought back to win a belt, let alone a world title belt.
Because it only makes sense to have Ricardo with ADR. It would make sense. There's a hardcore rules match. He could get involved and not get disqualified.
Why would he join RVD and then turn on later?
Why not?
It doesn't make sense.
It happens.
Especially
it's called the swerve.
Maybe El Torito will help him.
Swerve.
El Torito will help him.
No.
And in the main event, WWE Championship is on the line. There's no title on anybody right now. It's vacant. Who's going to win it? It's between Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton.
Maybe nobody wins. Maybe it's a no contest.
King of the Ring, right?
Whoa. You know something that we don't, fella? Are you?
I doubt that happens.
That would be outstanding.
It would be.
I would love that. That would be a good way to train. I know a lot of people don't like them, and I know a lot of people get tired of it. But that would be a good way to fill the gap between now and John Cena's return.
I agree.
Have nobody win this match. Have it go to a no contest. Triple H comes out on Monday and says blah blah blah. Best for business. King of the Ring tournament. The winner is the new champion. That would be great. But that won't happen.
No,
because WWE is just not that smart. I picked Daniel Bryan.
I picked Daniel Bryan with the help of one Mr. Vince McMahon.
Ooh, bold prediction.
Bold.
I think Bryan wins. I think with the help of the Big Show. I think the Big Show.
I thought you were going to say the other McMahon, which that would.
That's too bold. That's bold in the sense of it makes sense. That one's just too bold to believe. So
that would never happen. We would all mark out if that happened. That would be outstanding. So with that, guys, do we have a wild card?
Anybody down there?
I kind of do.
Kind of.
I know we don't talk politics on this show too much.
Oh, boy.
I know. But the skit at the beginning of the show kind of alluded to it a little bit. But
what skit?
It's
Did we do a skit?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
See, you think it was a skit, but the government decided to not air it.
They decided that it wasn't in the budget.
It's one of those things that... If the government's going to shut down, at least don't collect taxes from the people. I mean, because you're not working. That's kind of like a robbery.
You know what, though? Let her shut down because... gas keeps coming down, and it's going to come down anyway, regardless of the government shut down anyway. They already said it's going to go below $3 a gallon. So it doesn't bother me. And what people fail to realize is it shut down in 95.
It shut down in 95
for 3 weeks. And we really didn't see that much of an effect.
Remember, Bill Clinton was president.
Yeah, it's not that much of an effect.
It's really not like what gets
it's
me.
Not a huge
I don't
deal.
talk politics.
It is a huge deal.
It's huge, but it doesn't. I think people think if the government shut down, like the whole.
They don't realize it's not what you think.
Yeah, I mean you're still getting mail.
Yeah,
and
the military's still working. Don't worry, the military is still working.
China is not fueling its jets. But I mean, it is a big deal. But we'll get it resolved. The whole thing is just a smack in the face to all the voters, really. I mean, both the Democrats and the Republicans
and the
Independents completely dropping the ball on this one. Not being able to come into any kind of agreement on anything.
I will say this though, watch politics. I don't watch Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. I don't watch any of that.
You want Stephen Colbert?
No, I don't watch anything like that. But I was intrigued to watch like the final 3 hours before the actual shutdown was supposed to start. I was watching C-SPAN. Don't know why.
C-SPAN.
I was watching C-SPAN. And to watch these people go at it,
Oh my God.
It was like Hatfields and McCoys.
They get into fights sometimes.
It was like the one dude is over here telling this other guy, it's like, well, you're just ridiculous, and I'm like, wow, they're just they're like cussing at each other and everything. I'm like,
there's a
Lord.
great clip out of the Prime Ministry recently over in London where they you got a ghost in the house. One of the parties over there grabs the guy. He grabs the guy like this and throws him down out of disagreement. It is absolutely hilarious.
You gotta admit, if you ever watch America's Funniest Home Videos, they sometimes they show those funny political fights on there.
Yeah.
And they overseas in some of them third world countries, they're going fist fights.
It's like 3-1 on the guy from Welchester over the guy from Wales.
Hey, let's get him! You're like, holy cow!
Yeah.
So,
you have a wild card?
No, I do not have a wild card.
What does a fox say?
Yeah.
Alright, anyway. I have a wild card.
Yep.
And you've been looking forward to it all day.
Yes.
Did you tell him?
Yes, I know it.
You know, I'm the only one that doesn't.
I've been following along.
Yeah,
Okay.
he likes it. So last night on Jimmy Fallon,
What are you doing?
Stop. Last night while you were probably sleeping, Jimmy Fallon was on last night. He had a segment called "Do Not Play," and he featured these artists, and these songs are real artists and real songs, and these ridiculous things. And then one of the artists he featured was a guy by the name of Tony Joe White. Now I'm going to show a picture on the screen. This is his album called "Dangerous." Now, does he look very dangerous in that picture?
Oh, he looks. Incredibly.
He looks great. So
I can barely see him, but he looks dangerous.
Yeah, it looks dangerous.
There you go.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I mean.
Looks like Chris Christopherson.
The 70s call. They want their hair back.
Well, the album's from 1983.
Oh,
hey, the year I was born.
So anyway, I went over his on Spotify. He has an album called Dangerous 1983. Now there's some songs here called Naughty Lady and a song called Swamp Rap, whatever that is. But there's a song he featured last night. It's sweeping the nation. It's called Do You Have a Garter Belt? Now let's take a listen.
what? This is happening?
Yeah, quiet.
This is happening?
Quiet.
Not bad. It's not bad. It's got a good beat. It's got a good beat. It's got a pretty good beat. Wait.
Love the way you wear your hat down low.
Okay.
Like the way your phone sounds on that telephone.
Yeah.
Know you look sexy in tight routine.
Alright. Wait.
There's one thing I've got to ask you, please. Do you have a garter belt?
Do you have a garter belt? There's nothing he couldn't ask other than that. Like, do you want to go to a movie? Do you want to get some snacks?
Where would you like to sit?
So I'm not dreaming.
How about we get in the back?
I'm not dreaming. That did happen.
Yes,
that just happened.
That just happened.
So now, clearly, men have all been wrong. The clear question to ask a female when you first meet him is,
do you have a garter belt?
You know what? If it was Gary singing the song, it would be like, do you like Wade Barrett? Do you want to wash his back?
If it was Big B, he's like, are you down with the MMF?
MMF?
Male, female.
Postmaster.
Yes.
Do you like watching NASCAR?
Do you like going left? Do you like watching them go fast?
And
yeah,
that's my wild card.
That is fun. Do we have an idiot of the week?
No.
I don't think we do either.
I think the printer is the idiot of the week.
No, I think the government is the idiot of the week.
Yeah,
so this week, the United States government, Democrat, Republican, and Independent alike, you are this week's Triple Threat Talk Idiots of the Week.
Well, does it for the show this week?
Does it for the
You know what it is?
What?
Maybe we could get together with the Congress and ask them if they have a garter belt.
Maybe. But I have a question for you to ask everybody out there watching at home. Please like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter.
Twitter.
Stop it.
All right, anyway. Please like us on Facebook. Click that like button at Facebook.
Nobody will now. They turn this off.
Yeah, right.
After that garter bell.
It's facebook.com/triplethreattalk. Follow us on Twitter, please. Follow us on Twitter, please, at triplethreattalk.
It's worse than the
on Twitter. And send us any comment or question you have. It's
Instead of the Cold War, this is the Garter War.
Send any comment or question you have at triplethreattalk. This is Big B.
Gartergate. It's Gartergate. This is PostMaster Jones, and now we're knee deep in Gartergate. We're gonna get investigated by the FBI.
This is Gary the Dr. Locke.
This is Big B signing off, and don't forget, ask that female.